Today's GOAT format deck profile, Warrior. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. And today we're throwing it back all the way to GOAT format. Now, it's kind of been a second since we've done one of these kind of deck profiles, but today we are covering Warrior with a little splash, very, very small splash, of some Chaos Monsters in there as well, too. So why don't we go ahead and dive on in to the deck profile. Alright, guys, and as any great GOAT format deck profile starts off with, we're going to be running one copy of Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. Obviously, he's one of the best monsters of the format. He's a warrior as well, too, which is a nice little bonus to really keep the niche of the deck. So we got one copy of him. Next, we're going to be running 3 copies of Blade Knight, one of the all-time favorites for, warrior monsters. Not only that, he's a light as well, too. So really gives us that extra benefit if we need a light monster in the graveyard to banish for BLS or even Chaos Sorcerer that we have in here as well, too. So we got 3 of him. Very good for destroying flip effect monsters as well, too. Also gets a little bit of an attack boost if you have 1 or less cards in your hand as well, too. Moving on, we have our 1 copy of Breaker the Magical Warrior. That way we can remove some of that pesky back row that our opponent's going to be playing. So very good right there. Not like that, set him on the field, he's got 1900 attack, so not too bad. Next we have our Chaos Sorcerer. So adding into our little Chaos package in here. Just 1 copy of him. We don't want to go too overboard with getting bricks in our hand if we can't summon him out. So 1 copy of Chaos Sorcerer. We have 1 copy of DD Warrior Lady. Very good for disrupting our opponent if they're also running a Chaos kind of build and they're trying to get monsters into their graveyard. Yeah, we'll just banish it. Not only that, we can also attack into, higher problem monsters as well, in case they already have something like a BLS on the field already. Moving on, we have our Donzalug. Very good for messing up our opponent's hand, or even milling cards off their deck as well, too. Now, I know that sounds like something they might want if they are running a Chaos build, which, let's face facts, in GOAT format, a lot of people are. But with a card that we show later on in the deck, kind of helps a little bit. They kind of go hand in hand. So we got Donzalug, 1 copy of him. We have 1 copy of Exile Force, just solid removal. And then the card I was talking about earlier with Donzalug, we run 3 copies of Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer to banish monsters from our opponent's graveyard. That way they're kind of losing their resources in there, so they can't banish them, for BLS, Chaos Sorcerer, or any other kind of weird shenanigans they have going on. So Kaiku, very good for that as well, too. Also stops our opponent from banishing. Next up, we have our Mystic Swordsman level 2. Very good for just destroying those set monsters. Very good for removal. Cyber Jar, Magical Merchant, anything like that. Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke, light, level 4, 1800 attack. Pretty decent effect as well, too. We don't get too many monsters that are summoned in face-up defense position. But you never know. If our opponent's in a bind, they might be trying to do something here. But Ninja Grandmaster Sasuke is going to be good for that removal. Next up, we have our 1-2 combo of Sinister Serpent and Tribe Infecting Virus. Just good for removal. I mean, not only that, Sinister Serpent, very good for cards like Graceful Charity as well, too, for discard fodder. Next up, since it is a warrior deck, we got 2 copies of Reinforcement of the Army. Just help kind of turbo through our deck a little bit quicker. We have 1 copy of Snatch Steal. And while we don't play any copies of Metamorphosis or Extra Deck, you definitely could. You take out a few cards, toss in Metamorphosis, add in a, Fusion deck for this format if you wanted to. I just don't. I don't know. Maybe for the sideboard, I put in Metamorphosis, but you do have that option as well, too. Next, we have 2 copies of Nobleman of Crossout. Might as well maximize on that to remove any pesky problems our opponent's going to have. 1 copy of Premature Burial as well too. And of course, our staples for GOAT format, your Graceful Charity and Pot of Greed. Very good for drawing, clearly. 1 copy of Delinquent Duo as well too. A Heavy Storm, and then of course 1 copy of MST. Just to help get rid of that back row that our opponent always tends to have. Next up, we have 1 copy of Call the Haunted. Bring back a few things, especially like an Exile Force. That'd be pretty good. Then we also have 1 copy of Bottomless Trapple, followed by 1 copy of Mirror Force, the OG. Then we have 1 copy of a beautiful, little prismatic almost, extra secret. Ring of Destruction, very good for removal for those monsters that we just cannot beat over. Then we got 2 copies of Sakuretsu Armor, one of the best battle traps of the format. Then we have 3 copies of Solemn Judgment, because we love to stop our opponent from doing anything. Pay half your life points, and no. So very good, 3 copies of that. Then we also have 1 copy of Torrential Tribute, and then 3 copies of Trap Dust Shoot, just to round out the main deck. Because I mean, Trap Dust Shoot gives you solid insight as to what your opponent's playing. You can mess up anything that they're trying to start off with in their opening hand as well too. So 3 copies of Trap Dust Shoot for that, just to round out the main deck. So let me know down below, what do you guys think? What would you do differently? Like I said, you could always tech in Metamorphosis. I know that's one of the big cards of the format. But you know what? Sometimes I like to try and switch things up every now and then with GOAT format. You know, maybe just toss that in the sideboard and side into it later on. If you were to do that, of course, your extra deck or fusion deck will be pretty much all your generic monsters that you normally see in there. You know, Gatling Dragon, all the fusion monsters from Legacy of Darkness, basically. So it'd be a pretty generic fusion deck if you were to go that route. But comment down below, let me know what you guys think. What would you do differently? Obviously with Warrior, especially Chaos Warrior, there's 50 million different ways that you could build this deck. But that's the one that I like. I find it pretty fun. Obviously, I love Blade Knight as well too, as much as the next guy. That artwork is just mwah. But be sure to check out the links down below. Check out rpkgaming.com, as well as use that TCG player link. We will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye, and good night.